Hey everyone, and welcome back to the famous Cinci podcast.
I hate this name.
So, what?
I hate that name every time.
Well, today we're joined by our two hosts, Strikewind and Synactive. And we're joined by a very, very special guest today, Cinci.
Hey, what's going on?
And we also have Stormfly here. So, Stormfly, what is up?
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yep. Stormfly is known as the Hell series guy. You probably all already know him. Is there anything you want to introduce yourself with?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm here to be a part of the podcast and try to answer as much as I can.
Also, the GD history guy. I feel like Stormfly hasn't been exclusively the Hell series guy for a while.
Yeah,
Like,
he does a lot of GD history stuff as well as like.
Yeah, now more as people call me.
I
I'm
missed
an
the tutorial
archaeologist.
Stormfly though. Like those
And
tutorials
the
to pass those
GD
memory
guide,
cards were so
the
useful
guide.
for me.
when
Yeah.
dead nostalgia tutorials.
Like-
Stormfly, when are you going to make a tutorial for Killbot guide?
Yeah, when are you gonna
I've had
make it?
plans for a long time to actually make a pretty insane guide video
Oh, nice.
Really?
where I make guides on the entire top 150.
Yeah,
Oh,
because I
wow.
learned the Arab.
A compilation
video,
of everything with
so-
timestamps everywhere.
But,
Wow.
okay, but for levels like Requiem and Killbot, you would have to do, like, the entire level.
Yep.
So there you
okay.
go. All right.
I guess he's okay with that.
It'll be a long
Levels,
video.
no, my videos, long videos, are fucking hour-long videos. This isn't new to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Really long videos. I think Stormfly is like one of the modern, better, if not best, content creators because nobody really makes like real GD videos anymore aside from like Stormfly. Everyone's
I
just
think-
complete.
Well, I think it's I don't know. He's a different kind of content creator. I feel like he's just a much better C1997 modern day.
That's a compliment. Thank you very much.
So yeah, like the difference is like you're not kind of just trying to create a story. These are all purely factual, and you did so much research to do it. Like it's insane.
Yeah, there's like a series I'm about to start very soon.
Yeah.
A video series of levels, most of the time stupidly hard and not even remembered or acknowledged to that have even existed. Like an example, no, not sword dance, but like an example being what Majako's actually hardest level is,
Ooh. Interesting.
What is
and it is not Stereodemoness.
Well, Google, he wouldn't say what it is. You have to wait for the video.
Oh,
Yeah.
Google's just like, tell us now.
Here for
Give us
promo,
the
he's like
insider
promoting
scoop.
his content.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's customary in the podcast that we have to ask you at the start what you think of me beating Death Corridor. Like, do you think I will beat Death Corridor?
No.
What? Wait,
Yes. Yes. Good job.
Best Geom Dash player on
Let's
planet.
go.
what? Wow.
I'm sorry.
No.
And I
it's fine.
figured,
The immediate no is perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I figured that would be the most shocking response.
Well, it's not
Actual-
shocking at all. It's just the truth. But explain
Mr.
the
Geom
truth.
Dash himself.
Finally, someone right.
No, but
Google me, Death
no, but
Corridor.
I'm a firm believer that like anyone can verify any level like
Given enough
within
time.
human capability.
Right. But
As
why
long- like,
won't
if
Oh,
you-
so
if
anyone
feel
can
like-
verify Death Corridor. He's not special then.
Right.
Yeah,
Stormfly,
well,
I agree with
I
you, but
never-
why
I never-
won't Google?
me playing Death Corridor at first, like I was trying to make a point that you could beat anything, even if you like suck.
And how's that point going?
5 years later.
So I guess
yeah, it's my 5th year anniversary, by the way. Because I started Death Corridor on the 4th of October 2016.
Google, you've been playing
Congratulations,
Death
old man.
Corridor for longer than I played Innards, and since I've dropped it, you're still going.
Google's been
Yeah.
playing Death Corridor since before I met Google. You know how long that's been?
I wasn't even a legal adult when Google started playing Death
I mean, you
Corridor.
only met me because I was verifying Death Corridor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about to
it's
say
just
something
like
there and
crazy
I,
because
Wait,
you know how
what?
long.
It's active. Shut up.
I was about to say something and I would have probably been a one-liner.
Aw, damn.
Wait, what is
I
it?
didn't hear
Go
it.
ahead and explain why you think Koba won't beat Death Corridor. Like, what is he missing?
I don't know if he's missing anything. It's more or less just like
That's what he's missing.
what is he willing to put up with is at this point the question, I feel like. Because the motivation is there. It's just how much does he want to keep going at this point?
I'll keep going. I'm not near my limit.
Like I've been through a lot of levels now, as many know, and like I probably don't have a lot of motivation, but I'm just stubborn as hell. Is probably what I'm going for myself. 'Cause I get really pissed off at a lot of levels.
Yeah, same.
Although I can't help myself when I just play shit all the fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, you do play the Mario Maker version of GD, super expert. So,
I mean that honestly is just fun to record straight up.
do you
Like,
enjoy playing
if,
trash at this point? Like,
Yeah,
secretly?
what is your? What
I mean,
is
here's
your
the- okay,
obsession with
here's-
bad levels.
I'm not obsessed with bad levels. I would say that it's more or less just I have like my motive for what I want to do, and right now it requires me to play like these old levels like Dignity, Origin, like the Hell series and all that, and like 111 RG and stuff like that. But other than that, it's one thing I've always appreciated with old levels in specific is that with how simple that editor was back in the day, it required a lot more creative prowess than it does today. Because you see, like, a lot of, like, the more well-known ones would be, like, the Hell series. Some of Robos's levels as well, but Robos is not that unique. Other than, like, Strikewind, because he was the one who probably used it the most at the time. But other than that, like, regardless of things being garbage or not, because I can definitely pinpoint a lot of parts in old levels that are like, that is shit. But it's uniquely shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like
That's the whole point. Like, it's
nowadays,
not that it's, yeah.
Yeah, nowadays all gameplay has just this convention for what you need to have in
Literally,
your gameplay, or else it's just considered bad or whatever. Like it basically discourages experimentation, which is why I really like deviation, because
yeah, I was about to say literally deviation. Like,
Yeah, deviation is an example of someone who uses creative
level
prowess.
that is hard, but actually is different.
yeah, like
Is
okay,
it
it's
a good kind of different? Like, you
yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
playing it?
I would say
It's a good and bad
it's
kind.
it's unpolished, but I think if you like refine it a bit, it would be solid, because it's very different than anything I've ever played, and it's not like a recent tab different where it's just garbage, but
It's got a lot of weird ideas.
but it doesn't conform. It's like unorthodox. It doesn't conform to like regular gameplay conventions that we're used to, because someone doesn't even know about any of
So
these
it's
conventions.
like I kind of see it. So it's like one of those things to where people nowadays would hate it because they're uncomfortable with it because it's just that much different.
Because it's new, because it's
Yeah,
not something
exactly.
they're used
Also,
to.
it has a lot of frame perfect.
Well, that's just not fun.
It's a lot of frame perfect.
Okay, but
I do agree though, because we actually talked about this. I don't know if this was in the lost episode or if this actually made it up, but we actually talked about like how having a limited editor can sometimes just make you more creative.
yeah, no, that was in the first
Yeah.
episode, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I would say the same on that, because
OCO, and there was a
like
different game.
one thing that's been lost compared to the old days and to now is how the idea of optimizing with the limitations that you have is virtually non-existent, because especially like the big collabs, like extreme collabs, like how many of them do you see like be below 80,000 objects, which is the intended in-game object count?
Not very
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
I did see
most,
one person
Yeah.
actually make a level that looked like it used a ton, and they optimized it the best they could have.
it was during. I think you were talking about the Durian Head level, TKSBL or something.
No.
During that is
No, dude, that level is insane. It's like 15,000 objects, but it looks better and more detailed than like levels that have over 80,000 objects. It's one of my favorite levels, honestly. It's so good. But yeah. Also, on the topic of old Zone levels, today you beat all the Hell series, like the original Hell series. Which
Yes, I did. I beat Hell Origin today on stream a couple of hours ago.
So, on that topic, how would you compare the original Hell levels to the remakes? Like in everything, in difficulty, gameplay quality, all that.
So, I'll begin with the Hell Zone. Original Hell Zone by Sono924, not me. By Sono924. I would unironically recommend that level to anyone. If you can get around the idea of like 2% and 34% being kind of stupid.
2% is only stupid on high FPS, but yeah.
Yeah, for reference to that, I didn't do original Hell Zone on 60. I did on 240.
Yeah.
I found a trick for it and alignment setup that made it much more consistent. I could do 2% back to back many times because of it.
But I mean, yeah, in general, like, would you say like the original Hell Zone is more fun than the remake?
Yes, honestly, because Cyclic's team honestly fucked it.
Yeah.
Completely. They actually screwed it.
I
was like, out of all the remakes, I was not a part of this one. I was just like, I took one of the open copyables after Cyclic had disappeared, and I verified it, slightly nerfed, because the unnerved version is even dumber. Because what they had done, the main issue with the remake is that the first 40% is mega buffed, even on my version.
Yeah.
And the reason why 2%, unfortunately, the setup I found, the alignment setup I found for original Zone, also don't really work too well on the remake. It still works, but it's still like more problematic because for some reason the creator 1234, good name, decided to take the upper platform and move it an entire grid block to the left.
Oh.
For some reason. So that alignment strategy is suddenly like non-existent as something you can do. And for the record, you can still do it. Like my record after verifying Zone is 63. And I did that on 240 hertz. So you can still do 2%. No, on the remake that I uploaded.
Yeah, because I think people want to try to like nerf it or something, but that's just stupid because it's just a frame.
People really even contacted POS about it, a bug they had to fix.
Oh, that's not even a bug.
It's not even a bug. It's just like
I guess Strikewind is also a bug because it's harder on 60. Yeah. So aside from Zone, because the reason I'm asking this is because you told me at some point that you thought Zone was more fun than the remake, like the original, but then all the others were like way worse.
Yeah. The thing with Zone is like I would recommend the original. The remake is still like good, but it's like original's more fun, straight up.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And then we have the Hell World, the polar fucking opposite of Zone.
Yeah. I don't like the Hell World.
Oh my god! Like the problems with that one is like, it like the Hell Origin is even worse. I'm saving my breath for that one, but the Hell World is like, it has like multiple choke points across the entire thing.
I have one main question about this.
Yeah.
About the Hell levels.
Yes.
First of all, do you agree with the pointer crate order of the Hell levels in terms of difficulty on the remakes?
The Hell Zone got moved up by 40 spots because everyone sucks at timings.
Okay, I mean like the order compared to each other, not the order compared to the other levels on the list.
Hell Zone. I mean the Hellfield and the Hell Inferno are very similar, I suppose. And I guess Inferno is like harder on 60 because it's a bit more ship oriented than Field is. And I guess with those placements I agree, but I don't know what the hell Zone is doing up there, Ian.
Yeah.
I guess it just goes to show list grinders are a bit
Now-
shit.
So if you agree mostly with their opinions, I'm
Huh?
wondering how it differs from the originals in terms of difficulty. Because everyone always used to say like, "Oh, the Origin is super hard. It's like impossible. It's the craziest thing ever." I'm wondering if it actually is that much harder than the other hell levels.
Well,
or if
I
it's
will
just-
say this now that I've beaten Origin. The remake of Origin is off the list right now,
yeah.
whereas the original Origin I would say is main list.
Yeah, the original Origin is silent.
And there's a reason for that. I'll go into it. I'll hurry up here. With World, the issue is a ship at 67 and a cube section at 85. So the issue with the Hell World's ship at 67 is it exists. And Synactive was so in shock of that part when he saw it that he had to leave the call.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah, he
how.
just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So
I think
Yeah,
his PC
I'll-
probably
yeah.
exploded.
I'll get your live reactions. I'll get your live reactions to the section here. That's how that looks.
Oh, that ship
Oh, yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, that is awful. I remember this because
a mirror portal right before it.
I was trying to make a remake of the Hell World and verify it like before. This was before I even started Death Corridor, and I remember this ship was just the worst thing ever.
I love
Yeah,
how it has
it's,
like little dips for you to allow you to move, but it really just doesn't even help.
It really doesn't matter.
I know.
It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't do anything for you because you'll die if you even do it.
Yeah. And then finally, so that ship exists. That's a huge choke point in the world.
That looks
and
like
then,
a ship PPS would
yeah.
put in a level for 60 hertz power.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
fine. It's
60
fine, don't
hertz.
worry.
So,
Power.
Stormfly, you know the level Carbons of Zust by PPS. You know the remake of.
I think so, yeah.
Carbon
I think
Verified
so.
by Rando de Commando.
Yeah, well,
It's
verified by
basically
Random
a
Commando.
straight fly hell level. Like it's all straight fly.
Google. It was verified by Rando, and Rando's version was actually good. And then Google deleted it and asked me to verify the unnerfed version. So I was like, okay.
Wait, I
guess.
deleted it. I
Yeah.
deleted it.
Not a Google. PPS.
PPS deleted it. PPS
Why
deleted it.
Okay, but you said I deleted it.
Okay, I misworded
Yeah, you
it.
said Google
I
deleted it.
misworded it. But PPS deleted it. And then
Yeah.
I had to re-verify it with the unnerved, and the unnerved just had a bunch of mirror portal spam straight flies and all trash, which is one thing if that's what he was going for, but it had this 144 hertz bug in the first 2 clicks of the level that works perfectly on 6, but on 144 it's like 1 frame. And I was like, why are we keeping this here? This is stupid. And he said, because 60 hertz power. But the rest of the level is mirror portal straight fly.
Master Power Plays.
Power Pros. It's Power Pros.
Master Power Plays.
Pros.
So
Those ship parts in Origin is stupid.
Yeah. You should have just nerfed the ships.
So I'd like to move on a little bit from the Hell series, because
Yes.
so
Yeah,
in
let's
Talk
general,
about the
what is
Hell
your
Trinity.
no? Um,
No, but it's actually my favorite Hell level. It's so good.
all right,
Like-
what's your favorite Hell level, Stormfly? We can at least ask that.
Like, when's the hell
No,
burn?
the Hell Trinity is the coolest because it has the best gameplay and the theme is awesome because it's not just generic Hell. It's like it's purple. It's not even like red or orange.
Oh,
and
I
stuff.
kind of remember that actually.
Color, that's a big theme in
It's-
Geometry. Everything is the wrong color.
It is the theming is I call it like occult church theme.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So unfortunately, the story behind that level in terms of decoration, parts of it became exactly what I did not want.
Yep, Jonathan GD's part, but that got fixed.
Yeah, we fixed Jonathan GD's. There's a couple of other issues. It's just like trying to mimic what I wanted.
He tried
Instead
to
of
make
actually
his part
being-
green.
But is the 9th level... But I have a question.
Yeah?
Is the 9th hell level grocery store theme?
Nice.
No,
Talking
I'm
about
not.
the hell part.
After Trinity and Holder, I am done.
No hell mark for
I'm
Synactive.
not
Synactive,
more.
you could be that one guy that makes the unofficial sequels.
I mean, there already is
Sequel to 111
already.
Like
I
literally.
mean, there already is
Hellbird
an
and Trinity.
unofficial sequel in a way. There's Hellbird.
Right, I'm talking about in general. There's always those like creators out there that take series they like and just start adding sequels, even though they have nothing to do with them.
I think Stormfly tried to make a sequel to 111 RG just so that people wouldn't make sequels to it.
I made it. I made 118 OG to show people that this is how you do an element level. Stop being shit at it.
Oh.
So,
By the way, Stormfly, what is your favorite bug in the game?
that's okay.
Oh my gosh! Switch topics to that
Oh.
soon. We have to have a few other things.
All right, so there's.
We have to talk about this, but like very
I don't know
soon.
what you're
Okay,
talking
how do I
about
want to
now.
approach that question?
Without that question being asked that way.
Yeah, exactly.
My thought is I could answer it so that, because honestly the most recent one I've found out about is like so like stupid in such a funny way that honestly it makes you wonder if Robtop finished school.
Oh shit! What's this?
I'm dead serious. It actually makes me wonder if he finished school.
Okay, yeah, what is it? What is it?
Okay, so has anyone of you in here coded at all? Coded any games or anything
I
at
have
all?
coded things.
I have
Okay,
minimal
but-
experience.
But yeah, even then, like, okay, so you had to deal with like rotation in like a triangle, like when you have to figure out the angle. Like, you know, like an evenly lined triangle is like 60 degrees on each side.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when you have like you have to figure out a certain angle.
Right.
Like that's
Yes.
the answer to the question, all that. So yeah, when you keep that in mind, you know how like in some instances you will need decimals
Yeah.
because of how like specific the angle is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep that in mind for this.
Yeah.
So rotation in the game is very choppy. It's like the closer you are, like let's say like you have a huge line of blocks that rotate around a center.
Yeah.
The further away those blocks are, the choppier they look. Like
Right.
if you there's like there's a good example if I can find it.
I get an idea. Like in general, it's because it's not perfectly done. It's just going to be bad. The worse it goes out, more noticeable.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, do you want to know why that is the case?
Why?
Boy.
There's a GIF, by the way, to give you an idea of what I mean. So, the reason rotation looks like that
Oh.
is because this little idiot Rob made his code, like with rotation, using integer variables.
Wait. Why would he do that?
No one knows, but he did.
Maybe it will be fixed in 2.2. Maybe, probably not.
Yeah, that's
No.
I found out during a stream that he
It's
did
not
that.
getting fixed in
I know
2.2.
it's not.
He said it is.
He said
he
it
said
is?
it is.
Oh.
Yeah, he said
How?
it's fixed in 2.2. But for fuck's sake,
I mean, at least he fixed it.
how do you fuck that up?
Is he doing this?
Honestly,
Like, how-
honestly, I feel like that could be that really bad rotation could be used for something cool, maybe.
I mean, like, I literally was like, I even told the programmers I knew about this, and they lost their shit. Anyone who has any knowledge in math and coding would know what a stupid idea this is.
Is he not doing it using matrices?
You don't need matrices in 2D games.
Yes, but you can.
You can, but it's
Can.
kind of
Think about
it's kind of overkill.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is underkill. What he's done is underkill,
See,
isn't it? So
He should just use a bunch of if-then statements.
You have to make the update in
I mean, literally, all he has to do here, because he's using an engine, like the engine is not as stupid as Rob's coding, I assume. So, what basically is happening is that the engine is like trying to give the game the decimals, like that the rotation needs, but because Rob is just sending it through an integer, that information is lost.
Yeah.
Literally, all he has to do is change the integer variable to a float or double, and he will
Or
have
just
fixed this problem.
wait, is this dynamically like what language did he code in?
C++.
C++.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a Python or something where if you just don't change it, it will continue being a float all the way through whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't do that in C++. You have to,
Yeah.
unless you set up your variable to just be named var. But
Static
that's
is better than dynamic.
Google die.
You know, I wonder if he did something with matrices, you could probably get away with much larger object limits, I guess, because all of the operations are like done at once.
Why would you
Because,
need a matrix though for like a 2D game?
No, because like normally in 2D or 3D, I mean with 2D games you'd need a 3D matrix, and with a 3D game you need like a 4D matrix. But essentially, what the matrix lets you do is
That's with quaternions. That's way above anything Rob has ever coded in his goddamn
no,
game.
this is not to do with quaternions, but this is to do with the fact that you can like combine all your transformations into one single one, which helps you do it like much faster. So like anything that you need efficiency for, if you use matrices, it's much easier on the CPU or whatever. So
I feel like you're
this
overestimating Rob's skill here.
but this might bypass any sort of object limit or anything, right? You can have like way more stuff moving in the game. So
Let's let Strikewind code geometry dash.
Yeah.
Okay, now I actually remembered another bug that was actually almost even better.
What is it?
Well, we proved this during one of my streams, where you know how the game has a lot of issue with lag?
Oh, is it the Intel thing?
No, it's something else actually, which is much worse.
What's
Oh.
the Intel thing? I'm curious about both.
Basically, the issue is that the game does not utilize the GPU properly,
Right.
and that's
Oh, I know what you're probably trying to say.
it's more CPU oriented,
Right.
and a computer that has a CPU with an integrated graphics card is not going to lag as much as a computer without it but has a GPU. Which basically means that the game is not oriented around the mixture of using both the CPU and GPU to share power. It's more on the CPU,
Yeah.
which is a pretty big rookie mistake.
there are some.
Well, I mean,
there are
to
definitely
some extent,
programs.
to some extent, I see how it happened because it's meant to be a mobile game, but then it just never got updated.
Yeah, there are some things that have like two versions. Like TensorFlow has a CPU version and GPU version, and like you can accidentally install the wrong one. So you definitely have to like think about it deliberately to like including the GPU and stuff.
Well, I think
right?
like
Because
once you
normally
integrate
when
Steam, you should just make it look for a GPU. Like I
Yeah.
think at that point you just change it.
That is one thing I'm very worried about when it comes to Robtop's particle system. Because you would be an absolute idiot to try and run particles on a CPU.
Well,
Yeah.
That is GPU only.
Well,
Everybody
Stormfly.
tries to.
Since Robtop is clearly an awful game developer, and you are a better game developer,
where
how
are you going
about
with
we talk?
this?
I want to. I'm trying to segue into Stormfly's game development.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Stormfly, I know you've created like 6 games or something, right?
So 3 2D games and 3 3D games. 2
Yeah.
of which are made on own-made engines with
Yeah.
a team of people.
Exactly. So
What actually are they? I don't know anything about those.
but yeah, that's what I'm gonna get into. Out of those games, which ones are your favorites, I guess, and least favorites, maybe? I don't know.
Okay. Out of the 3D ones, I would say like the first 2 are like okay. So the 3 games are the first one is a racing game. It was basically a racing game in a like a cyberpunk highway, which was something I brought up as an idea, but it's fairly decent. It was made in Unity, that one. So we had like I think 2 months, I think, we had to make that game.
Oh, wow.
The second one required us to use our own engine, which making 3D engines from scratch is a pain in the ass.
You mean a 3D engine?
A 3D engine, yes, on OpenGL. And that is, like I said, a huge pain in the ass because you have a lot of things that can very easily break. Because as soon as one thing is like missing, the whole game crashes, the engine crashes, everything. Bye bye. And the bigger that gets, it just gets worse and worse.
Do you have like realistic shading and stuff, or?
There's a couple of groups. I was not part of one of them, but there's a couple of groups that had ray tracing for their shading. So they had like because like whenever we had finished our games, we would go and play test them as groups together. And one of them was like a ray tracing game, and the idea with that game was that you had a water gun, and yeah, you were a scientist with a water gun in like a darkly lit laboratory, and each scientist had a candle on them, which you had to spray to make them to turn it off, and then they lose. So the last one alive is the winner.
By the way, didn't you say that you had like what's it called, like an actual game developer schedule?
Yes, they put us through a it's not modern. It's like 10, 15 years ago, I think.
But it's like what people...
They put us through a AAA type schedule.
Yeah, that sounds like
with a Scrum Master, I think it was called.
That sounds really bad from what I've heard.
I mean, I am not the best the one to share my experience with how that would be, because not everyone gets to deal with this. But more or less, what they put us through, because that was like the last game we made at that place. Unfortunately, that was the one game where I didn't have really any say in the game idea, which might sound egotistical on my part, but there's a reason I'm saying this. My idea that I was going to bring up to them would have been prop hunt, basically, but more modernized. Like a fun multiplayer game that you can make in, I think, 4 months' time, I think we had, or 3, something like that.
Okay.
But I didn't get to share that idea. And the idea that they came up with, the other 9, is so creatively bankrupt I want to cry.
What was it again?
It was a Diablo ripoff with Red Riding Hood theme.
Wait. Little
Basically,
Red
Riding Hood. Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood and werewolves.
What? I thought this was like a reference I wasn't getting. I didn't think it would literally be.
That was literally they literally came up with that. I had no share in that idea. I kind of wish I had.
How would you even know? How would you even know that they did it properly?
3 pigs homes there too. just get them all there. Let's get all this story time.
So I ended up being I mainly did models and animation. I think like 3D animation.
By the way, how did you even know that they did a good job? Because even if they did it correctly, it might still just be like really crap, just because of the theme, right?
It's Storm.
Such a long story to tell with this. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Storm.
Do you use Blender?
No, we use Maya.
I really want to know, Storm, what's your actual favorite topic in terms of game design? Like, which aspect of it? Like, level design? Do you like the, design of, graphics? Do you which part of it is the most interesting to you? Like, the idea itself?
It's an active, you're born.
I genuinely, was more into, the creative director type move.
Yeah.
That was... I'm more for ideas and just pushing for what we can do to make this. I like the world building aspect, basically.
I'm really big on level design and theming. So like theming of like areas and stuff like that, and then like level design in general. That's like my favorite stuff. But I also
Yeah.
just like the idea of creating an atmosphere. I find that stuff really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the first times you do that is like really awesome. And nowadays too, the idea of creating your own engine, especially 3D, like 2D, you probably could,
I
but
really
trying
want
to
to
make a 3D engine today and going out on the market is almost suicide.
Oh yeah,
Because like
yeah.
How do you even make it?
Unity and how do you make an engine? There's a lot that goes into it. The code looks like Latin. It's horrible.
Yeah,
Um,
I could never
yeah.
do that. I mean,
And
maybe I
also
could
it's
someday, but it'd
yeah.
be quite a few
In the
years.
beginning too, that engine in development phase is so insanely fragile.
And you've
Like,
tried to make it?
I I didn't get to like make the fundamental code because what they had done for that course was they split us into two classes. They took two classes and split them into groups. I was in a group of 10. Half of them was game programmers, and me and the other 4 that were with me were technical artists. And the issue that that system had was that the game programmers had never made a game up until that point.
What? Even I've made games before, and I'm like not.
They told us that like during their first 2 years here, they had never made a game.
Oh, it's literally a game development thing. How have you never made a game?
School is my college is shit. Okay, so yeah, put that into perspective. They had never made a game before.
2 years of
And
game
they're
development college,
and
and you haven't made a game.
they're put into a AAA type schedule. Working as a Scrum Master, where you have to. The idea of Scrum Master is that there's like one person keeping track of what everyone is doing, and you have like post-it notes on a whiteboard of like tasks that we need to do, and it's like 30, 40 different post-it notes at that point. So it's like, and the worrying part about it too is that, well,
Why don't they just write on the whiteboard with a marker instead of post-it notes?
Because that would actually be way too chaotic. I understand why we have post-it notes.
Okay.
Trying to write that on a whiteboard is it would look like scribble.
At least it's realistic.
But yeah, so the thing about that was, we had the Scrum Master. The worrying part about it, first of all, is that the course specifically said that you have to be on site. Which usually you didn't have to do in my course because you could work very easily from home. And you had to be there 80% of the week, every week, or you would be kicked out of the course.
Shit, what?
So that was bad for me because I was traveling with train to get to school. And the distance I travel back and forth takes 2.5 hours a day.
Why would you even... What?
So that meant that I every day traveled for a week, basically, for 12.5 hours on a train every week.
Were you not able to find any like closer place?
No, basically, I had to fit for their schedule, not my own. I had to follow what the teachers wanted.
Oh.
So like I could not like they even made a point like I arrived late and that teacher one of the teachers happened to see me arriving late because of train. And they literally made a point to us that like you have to be here on time. Because I was doing that and there was like other people doing the same.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, it's
why,
a very complicated story.
I understand why you have to be on site. Do you know, like when the CG houses that make things like the CGI from movies and stuff,
Yes.
Their artists actually like, travel all around the world based on like where it's cheapest, where the labor is cheapest, essentially, because they're always like broke. So they travel to random countries, and they have to like stay there, even though they could easily work from home. You have to like work in specific areas so that like
I'm gonna order some
labor
food.
charge is low.
Can you not wait like 20 minutes, Colonel?
Well, by the time the food arrives, we probably would have ended the podcast already.
So just order it after. Just wait.
You can
Okay.
order it in a
Okay,
way.
I think this is a good time to segue into the fact that it's Halloween, which means we have
No,
to.
it is not.
Before we start,
no,
before we do this,
yeah.
what I do want to do is I do want to ask Stormfly this because this kind of got brushed over. Stormfly, as far as like, so you've been around the game for a long time, as well as you've done a lot of history, so you've seen all the past top ones, right? And like how the game has slowly progressed.
Yeah, I was
We've-
around when like Cataclysm was released and all that.
Yeah, so considering 3 new potential top ones, got, or at least at some point in their like verification period, have been rated like 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago? Or yeah, it was 2 days ago. What is
2
your
days ago, I think.
what is your thoughts on A, the opinion of these levels, and B, how about like the idea of the game keeps getting harder and harder? Like, what's your just opinion on all of it at this point in time? The progression of the game, the opinion of these levels, whether
really
it's
want to
good.
know.
Okay.
I really want like a level design perspective. on this. That's what we were talking
I will make a video on this topic eventually,
Mhm.
which might end up being controversial because of what I will point out.
Right.
But it's my thoughts on it is that the idea of levels getting more difficult is not a problem like in itself. However, I feel that the things you are expected to do to get there is so far, like way too far gone, really. Like you have to like I don't mind seeing like levels like, oh, I cannot beat this. Like right now, the idea of me doing Arcturus, Slaughterhouse, or Firework, even though I have like main list levels that I've beaten, is like I can't do them, and that's fine.
I feel like
But
Arcturus is the most approachable
I
one
just
of those
don't
three.
like. It's just a combination of the fact that the amount of time and the amount of hours and attempts you have to spend, pretty much by default, to even come close to reaching that skill level. Because as far as I know, you kind of have to play GD as if it was a full-time job if you want to stay up there.
That's why kids are the
Yeah.
best. But like
Yeah,
that's why there's so many
it's
best
like-
players are like 13 years old.
Yeah,
because
like
they don't have
they're-
any.
Yeah, the best players are around that age because the others can't keep up. They have more important stuff in their life right now. Like you don't see like Eric Van Wilderman or me or anyone my age like doing any of the top ones up there right now. Back in the day, you could. Like even if like maybe let's say like 2016,
Trust
the
me,
idea of me
it's
beating Bloodbath
any
was like
player with a life.
non-existent. The
Yeah.
idea of me beating Bloodbath was completely non-existent. It's just like, yeah, I can't do this. I'm not good
You
enough.
could have been practicing on the train though. You had those 2.5 hours.
Exactly.
Just play mobile.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the thing. Like it's very delicate topic because there's a lot of here and there where you can say and how you can think, and I want to like bring my point forward to like actually establish fully what I feel, because there's a lot of back and forth. Like I think this, but what about this? Or yeah, there's this issue, but what about this? Like there's so many backs and forths. Like there's pros and cons to everything.
So
And,
one thing I've like kind of been keeping an eye on as well. So I pay attention to like Mario ROM hacks a lot, just like because I find them interesting. And what's interesting there is the problem they're running into. I can kind of see same thing in GD. Really, is the hacks are getting so like difficult because everyone just cares about what's the new hardest thing. They all want the new hardest stuff like this. That they are alienating a whole player base that can actually even play them, because people don't. Even like the best players. Very few of them are going to tackle these because the rest of them are just wanting to enjoy themselves and don't want to spend hours upon hours just playing one hack. Like, that's not what they want to do. It's like, like even like for example, Barb once said, "These look like cool levels, but I can't feel like I'm allowed to play them. I'm not allowed to enjoy them. I just gotta keep throwing attempts at it until eventually I pass it. And to me, that's not fun. Good job. I don't want to be part of this ride." And he quit the hack. He's like, "This is stupid."
Yeah, the biggest issue with like the demon list right now as a whole, and I think everyone can agree on this, regardless of who you are, is the accessibility of it.
Yeah, because they're making
take like the demon list.
Yeah,
take like the demon list from.
No, just keep going.
I was just gonna say that they make like 100 levels of the same difficulty. So if you want to play the demon list, that it won't like be new player friendly where you can work your way up, because everything is just gonna be the same difficulty.
Yeah, I like that there's still a really large gap between like the 40s and then the like the 40s and 30s, and then like the top like 20, 10. Like why are there so many levels that are top difficulty and almost identical in difficulty, but there's nothing in the middle that actually makes it easy to transition?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. I talked about how like Erebus and Necromancer were like 2 spots apart at some point, and now they're like 23 spots apart on the list. So it's like, it's not like, okay, GD skill, maybe it's improving a bit, but it's not even improving that much. It's just people are making like 10 billion levels of the same difficulty, and it's causing everything below it to fly out, and it just makes the list super inaccessible.
Well,
and that's why Trusta's GDDP is the best thing in the game right now.
There's one thing I wanted to mention with that, because take 2016, the demon list back then, which I was grinding it at the time, because it felt accessible. Like the first levels I ever did on that, which I think was number 10 and 12, were Land Decked by Ospectra and Let's See Sub by SCP-Lanced.
Yeah.
That was the first levels I did on there. And they felt accessible. Like, there were easier levels, like 40 easier levels.
They had insane demons.
Yeah, there was, maybe back when I was doing it actively, it was like 4 or 5 extremes and 45 insanes.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
These levels that are frequently being rated, and like all these levels just getting harder and harder, do these make Geometry Dash a worse game, in your opinion? And are these levels objectively?
No, they don't make the game. They don't make the game worse. Because saying a level by themselves would ruin the game.
They make the game worse if you're a list grinder, but
the thing is, see.
You can still
the way I look at it is this. It's not that it makes the game worse. Like, the level being there, it doesn't make the game worse. But what it does do is right now it promotes a culture of basically you make it super, super hard. Like, the harder the better. Like, you want the top stuff to get all the attention. And I feel like there's less emphasis on actually just being good. Like,
I think the fundamental issue of
Snactive, you're talking really quiet. It's hard.
Slaughterhouse on 60 hertz. Oh my gosh, Cinci, turn my volume if it's so quiet.
No, you're fine now. You're fine now. You were
Firework is impossible on 60.
I'm just trying to say.
It should get unrated. It should get unrated.
Shush.
Oh, it's actually impossible.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Inactive.
Someone made a 60 hertz bug fix and it didn't even work.
Slaughterhouse on. You're so cancer.
What? I stopped talking. I stopped talking like 10 seconds ago.
Come on.
Slaughterhouse on 60 hertz has 57 frame perfects on it, roughly speaking. There could be more, could be less, and it is completely inconsistent in terms of like whether it's possible or not. You have to either like do certain alignment tricks or like get lucky in certain places. And the thing is this game worse because you literally have to hack to play these levels? Like, you would need 360 FPS to play like Sock in Circles, to play Slaughterhouse. From a level design perspective, is this game worse because on 60 hertz, which is the intended frame rate for the game, You literally need to be doing such a terrible thing, which is 50.
But how does it make the game worse? Like, you can just ignore those levels.
Well, Google, it makes the game worse in general that it's being promoted that you have to use external sources to even play. No one has a 360 hertz monitor. That's the end of it. Like, maybe there's like a few people in the community, but majority of the people doing this are FPS
There's
podcasting.
one thing I want to say that I don't think there's one thing I want to say which I think like list grinders potentially haven't actually realized yet, which is that 2.2 is gonna change this entire topic a whole lot.
Yeah,
I want it to
everything's
come
gonna be
out because I
capped
want
on
there to be a
240.
standard. I want
Everything's
there
gonna
to
be capped on 240.
That's not only it, because the thing is, with let's say the FPS bypass, which is like, it is an exploit. It always will be.
Right.
Code-wise, it will always be an exploit.
Right.
But the thing is, the way it works right now in 2.1 is that it's just bug abuse. It's not like even me with native 240 hertz, I'm technically abusing a bug in the game.
Right.
Which is that the game doesn't care what frames per second you're run, but it instead just takes the frames per second that you have and does as many calculations as it can per second. Which is why we have all these issues with needing 60 hertz versions. That is like the genuine proof that this is a bug. The fact that we need different versions to actually beat a level, depending on the frames per second that we have. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because in 2.2,
There's gonna be in steps.
Just getting fixed.
yeah, it's been fixed. There's two ways you can fix it. There's an easy way and there's a hard way. Robtop, being the best programmer ever, chose the easy way. Which is that you take, like you said, it renders in steps depending on the frames that you have. Like, let's say, it steps between 60, 120, 180, 240. Right. And the max frames per second that the game will render now is 240. Which means that if you try to, like, let's say like you have a 300 or 360 hertz monitor, that will do absolutely fuck all. It will still render on 240 frames per second. And the difference with the FPS bypass is that in 2.1 it's bug abuse. In 2.2, if you try to bypass 240 with that, you are literally cheating.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, like when other games have like specific monitor refresh rates, it's more or less just to fix the visuals. Where in GD, the GD is coded in such a way, as you mentioned, that it literally changes how the game runs.
It doesn't, like, people have made the argument that the hardware will always influence the game, but the problem is that it influences GD in a bad way. It's not meant to do that.
It influences the physics. Like if you're playing, like, for example, Counter-Strike, and you have a higher hertz monitor, yes, you will see things clearer. You'll see things slightly faster because you're a better monitor. But it's not changing the physics at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have
jump impossible.
Yeah, like there's an example of like this bug in Osu.
That shot is impossible once.
Where you have like when Osu found out that they had this bug to deal with, because there's like a couple of maps in that game that someone's told me that are like they're only possible in this frame rate. But there aren't many of those because unlike Robtop, the Osu team, once they found out this bug existed, immediately got to work to fix it. Whereas Rob has allowed this.
Here's what I don't get: why is Robtop waiting for 2.2 to bug fix everything instead of releasing patches?
What I think happened, what I'm guessing happened is, if I'm just gonna take a guess, I'm gonna guess that there's just so much code shit everywhere that you can't just release the patch without breaking something else.
Well, yeah, the thing with Rob is that he's also, once again, out of many rookie mistakes, dealing with 2.2 in this way is yet another rookie mistake, because what he's trying to do here is he's trying to please everybody at once, which you're never going to do.
Yeah.
There's literally an article, I don't know the reference of it anymore, but there's an article speaking about the director of the game Resident Evil 7 and 8.
It's about scope creep.
And he spoke of the director's intentions with Resident Evil 6. And the reason why that's like a parallel is because Resident Evil 6 is deemed the worst game in the entire series. And then Resident Evil 7, which revitalized and changed everything, is considered one of the best. And he speaks of, the director of Resident Evil 7 speaks of the director's intentions for the sixth one in that he was trying to do everything he could to make sure that everyone who played the game was interested. There was like horror bits, there were action bits, there were things over there, like just a mishmash of everything. And that it's not going to work because what you'll end up with is a mediocre pile of trash, like where if separately they might be okay, together they make a complete mess. And
Because
you can say the same about GD's features in 2.2 because with how many features he's added in, there's like 50 gauntlets, there's the particle editor, the 2.2 editor, there's the multiplayer mode. It's,
By the way,
inevitably all of it is going to be probably pretty mediocre from the beginning.
Also, here's another thing.
I don't think it's necessarily as fair. Oh, sorry, Google. Sorry.
Wait, I just want to just relate it to the bugs. He's fixing all these bugs that we have now, but because he's making 2.2 so big with all these new features, it's inevitably gonna probably bring more bugs than he'll end up fixing with all like the new shit that he makes. So 2.2 is probably just gonna be like even more buggy, if anything.
He called it the buggiest update.
I mean, what I think is what I don't know if it's necessarily fair to say that like exact same thing is going to happen because Resident Evil is more story based to an extent.
Yeah, like the idea of like
Yeah.
I'm not saying like it's gonna be like it's just bound to be mediocre. It's just
A lot of times,
the concept. It's more the concept of the approach.
What I really
Of what
don't
he's
like
doing.
is how
That's the
from one day a level can be super cool to the very, very next day it can just be so outdated because of all the new features that came in. Like we're adding
Yeah.
so many things in at once that it's just going to be complete overload for people to try to get used to.
gonna be overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
gonna be overwhelming.
Like, you know how hard it is to get into the editor now? It is so difficult to get into the editor now because the community at this point, and as a mod, I'm also a little bit guilty of this. When you see, like, you know, levels of people first starting, they won't ever get the time of day. They don't get rates. Like, you make a crappy level that would be rated in 1.9 nowadays would never get rated most of the time. So, like, it's hard for you to, like, gain that like satisfaction of, oh, I did something to continue to move on. It's so hard to get to a rateable point nowadays.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
in 2.2, that poll is going to be moved way further than it is now because the more like stuff you
much
get, the
complexity.
harder and harder it is to actually implement new things with the complexity of like the system.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much crazy stuff you're going to have to do. It's just going to be completely dead for anyone trying to get into creating.
I have a question for Strikewind.
I have to say something. You know the thing where you were like, oh, imagine in CS:GO if this jump was impossible because you're in a different frame rate, right?
Yeah.
This actually happens in some games, not frame rate related, but in Minecraft, two people can be on the same server, and for one person a jump is like not possible, and for the other person it is, because like there's some servers where you can actually play on different versions of the game and still be in the same server. And on 1.9, they updated it so that the jump height is a smidge higher for some reason. I don't know why. So actually, the enchantment table jump is impossible on 1.8, but if you just log out of Minecraft and log in on a different version, you'll be able to make the jump.
There are
And
also
your
like
friend won't
crop
be able to.
hitboxes as well that you can abuse and stuff like that as well.
there's also the swimming change, which like is really weird on servers.
Oh, yeah, that...
Like
Yeah.
you could
Cheating bug.
like literally dolphin cheating, but not.
Okay, but I do have a question for Strikewind.
Okay.
Yeah, Strikewind, do you believe in Halloween?
I see we went to bad questions
I,
already.
I believe that... I believe that it exists. I mean...
Stormfly, are you dressing up for anything for Halloween?
Dressing up as a dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stormfly, I
obviously.
actually have a question for you that I've been asked to ask you. Are you
No,
a
no.
dragon in real life?
Of course.
Okay.
So you
have to
don't
dress
need
up.
to dress up. He's already a
Yeah.
dragon.
Yeah.
Everyone
He has to
will-
dress up on all the other days.
Staying
of the year.
indoors in my room
This is
all
like
the
reverse
time.
Halloween. For 364 days of the year, he has to dress up as a human.
This is the one day he looks normal.
Okay, wait.
Finally free.
His face cam's on right now. I see his mouth moving every time he talks.
Why is he like looping and teleporting? Whatever.
Just laggy
It's like
video. Bad,
UDP.
bad internet.
I guess I have a selfie.
A selfie.
Is it you with Astrid?
Did I send this?
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. You can see it for a split second. There.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Oh.
I
It's
see.
literally you.
Exposed.
Guys, we
see,
just
it's
got a
selfie.
face reveal of Stormfly.
Yeah, there you go.
They-
That's a
they-
selfie.
Crazy.
That's insane. Okay.
That's
but-
actually
He's not
awesome.
even. It's a selfie, and he's not even holding
That's
the
actually-
camera with
that's
his hands.
actually,
So that's crazy.
A pretty big plush. I mean, selfie. That's
No,
nice
that
size.
was the Stormfly.
Yeah.
You got,
Yeah,
you got
okay,
a nice
okay.
smile.
But the reason I brought up the Halloween segue is because I wanted to ask you, Stormfly, what is your biggest fear?
Well, I don't really have one. Like in terms of like phobias or something like that. There's
Yeah.
like
Google. He's a dragon. We're scared of him.
like
Not
the most
scared of
the most
dragons.
the most common one I know is like spiders and snakes. I think.
I'm not afraid of those. though.
Stormfly's biggest fear.
What about
Well,
the
a
scene
little-
buffer
a bit-
in
a
a
bit of
game
tr-
engine?
A bit
Does
of,
that give
a
you
bit of
Okay.
no, don't worry.
Stormfly is your
but
biggest fear.
a bit of-
AOD.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Let him shut up, Synactive. No one likes you.
A little bit of trivia for you all. I've had 2 pet spiders.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, I know about that.
What kind?
Chilean
Wow.
rose tarantulas.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
So are you still
they,
scared of them?
they I remember like when I have the little closure still here, but the one of them ended up like attacking me by accident, which is pretty fun.
That sucks.
Intentional, not by
I was,
accident.
I was trying to feed it and it confused the food with me.
That's why you're supposed to use like those.
You're way
tongs, aren't
bigger
you?
though.
Yeah, I used the tongs. Yeah.
Oh, how did it attack your hand then?
Well, it attacked the tongs. Like it,
Oh.
it,
Oh, okay.
it went for me and then climbed. I climbed up.
But
it a
he's
little
got
bit.
dragon scales. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually petrified of spiders, dude. Like, I used to be a lot worse than I am now. Like, it used to be I would actually just freeze and would have trouble killing it when I was younger. Nowadays, it's like, okay, I'll either capture it and let it go outside or kill it, depending on where
Although
it's at.
this summer I was actually a bit afraid of something that happened.
What was that?
Which happened twice in the span of 3 weeks somehow. Which
Yeah.
is
You
that
saw-
I
you
had
saw a
my
female dragon.
I had my windows open, with the lights on. I was sitting in my room doing some work or something, and I
Yeah.
suddenly started hearing like flying noises from like a bug or something.
Oh.
It was Synactive
like-
GD icon.
Like
I knew it.
really loud and like pretty loud that I heard it from my headphones.
Oh,
And-
yeah,
And
like-
it was also like it suggested it was pretty big as well.
Yeah, my biggest
So
fear
I
is like
Just
mosquitoes.
Let him finish.
no, but basically what I would have much rather had a mosquito honestly than that. Because what I ended up seeing was a hornet queen,
Oh my.
a
That
Sure.
queen, yeah, an actual queen, yeah, and they are big. And
Holy
you know how hornets like are just like greedy for food? They're worthless pieces of shits, basically.
Yeah.
yeah.
A queen just doesn't give a fuck. Like she just like flies in and then just
Holy
doesn't do anything.
crap,
She's just
it's
flying.
massive.
She's literally just flying around in my room, just like, what are you doing? And like she's not trying to go for me or anything. She's just flying around. Yeah,
You
like,
can't even
like
kill this thing. You
Yeah,
can't.
well, I did kill them, both, because I had
No,
another one
yeah,
arrive. I had yet another one arrive 3 weeks
Do
later.
you have like spray or something? How did you do it?
No, I got the. I literally have a workshop next to my room. So I literally took the vacuum cleaner and just fucking sucked it in.
Oh my god, that's a good idea. Wait, what?
I've
I've
done
never
I've
thought
done
about
that I've done that before too with wasps. And yeah,
it's the most efficient way, honestly.
Better than like
Yeah.
the queen murder hornets or whatever. Those things are huge.
Japanese.
Don't you like hear
Yeah.
the things tapping on the vacuum cleaner like container then, like buzzing or something? If it's still alive.
It dies during the travel into. Like, it's so quick. It gets thrown around. Remember, like it gets thrown around in the
There's
tube.
like no
so
oxygen in there. Things.
and that too. Like you're literally like being pulled in.
Vacuum.
It's like one of those
and being
G-force
rocked around and-
centrifugal tests, but instead of pilots, it's like bugs.
But yeah, that's.
Like I'm going in.
I mean,
B-movie, but
I might have something, but I can't think of it right now. But otherwise, my general approach to fear is like, I'm fine.
My order is here, so I'll be right back.
All right.
What?
good to
You're
know.
kidding.
You guys
We
have any more
literally have
questions?
to end soon.
Oh my god.
He just leaves in mute and gets his food.
Whenever he did the Halloween thing, he's like, "I'm satisfied," and he just like,
My greatest fear is.
Do you guys have any more questions or?
We have to ask you a question.
Which question?
Skyjax wanted to ask you, are you happy?
Right now, I could say that my year has probably been one of the worst I've ever had to experience
I feel that.
for multiple reasons. I'm feeling all right, but I've had a rough time this year.
I see.
Yeah.
"Do you
And-
feel worse?"
I think the past few years for people have not been the best.
2020
Yeah.
was like shit for the world, and 2021 was shit for me.
Yeah.
Do you feel worse when it's like your mood is bad, or when it's like you realize that looking at what's happened in the year, you should be feeling horrible? Like it's adding all the things up, you should be feeling horrible, and then kind of makes you feel worse? Or is it like mood?
Basically, right now I believe I am suffering from a very long word called temporomandibular joint disorder, which is like
back.
basically a jaw injury and inflammation, and like me just opening my mouth hurts basically.
Wait, right now on the podcast?
Oh yeah, but it doesn't hurt when I speak. But if I try to open my mouth like a bit more,
Okay.
I start feeling pain.
Wait, what happened?
we're
I
just
said that
talking.
I spoke that I have an issue. They asked me like if I'm happy.
Oh.
I ended up on a topic of this year's probably been one of the worst in my life.
Oh shit.
And
Yeah.
basically, I went into the topic of that I probably have temporomandibular joint disorder, which is basically a form of jaw injury and inflammation, which can cause my vision to get screwy, which it did. It increases tinnitus and just overall discomfort in jaw. Like I have trouble eating, trouble opening mouth properly, and stuff like that. And I didn't realize it was probably this disorder. I thought it was just everything else in the meanwhile. And I just made myself freak out for like half the year because I had no idea what was going on. But yeah, otherwise, like, I think now I'm actually on the road to feeling better. Because 2022 is looking really bright. I have a lot of fun stuff that I'm going to be doing.
That's good.
That's good.
That's always good that you have some place to look forward to.
I have like a Tool concert in April 2022, which I'm really looking forward to.
Okay, what question do you want to ask the next guest?
No, I don't want to do this, Google.
Why?
I really don't
I-
want to do this.
How are you gonna explain?
We
that
saw
you
what
didn't
happened with
do
the last
Skyjax's
one.
question?
Literally, the last question did not go well.
Okay, well,
It was, are you happy? And I was like really mad at Sin and DMs for asking. It was like, because if they say no, it's awkward. If they say yes, then okay, cool. Like-
Well,
Okay,
I
well,
don't
the
care.
next-
The
next
question is usually
We
asked
said
a
we
lot.
would.
though.
yeah, okay, but
Like,
the
I've
next,
heard other people answer this question. And it's
okay,
not
but
that
the next
usual.
question is not going to be, "Are you happy?" It's going to be whatever Stormfly
But
comes
it
up with.
doesn't matter. They don't even know who the next guest is. We don't even know
Well,
who the
yeah,
next guest is.
that's the point. You're not. It's not like
That's the
directed
idea.
towards a specific person.
Okay, I guess I have a question
All
for
right.
Yeah,
the next
what is
person. Oh my god.
What is it?
It's a fucked up question, but
Don't be. Are you sad? That's like
Yeah.
not.
no. It's actually a fucked up question.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how depressed are you?
No.
Would you get a troll face tattoo for $1,000?
No, you can cut this out if it's actually too bad.
Okay.
Okay.
But if you had to have sex with two people with a combined age of 30, which ages would you pick?
Oh, easy. 30 and 0.
30 and 0. That's smart.
That doesn't fulfill the criteria.
No, it
of two
does
people.
because the baby inside their tummy is still there. And this is pregnant sex.
Okay, but then what are you gonna do with the second one?
So you're having sex with a fetus? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm having sex with a pregnant woman.
That's not two people though.
Yeah, but you're
That's
not.
still
That
one.
doesn't count, Cinci. That does not count.
Okay, well, anyway, we're gonna save this question for the next guest.
Well,
I guess.
I think so soon after all the Twitter drama that just happened, I don't know if I really want to ask someone that kind of question.
I mean, I literally said it's like a fucked up
awful
question.
question.
I know it's an awful question.
I mean, if
love
my
it.
loophole's not allowed, then there really is no legal way to answer that. So,
Unless the next guest is not an adult.
are we asking Guitar to be our next guest? Or
Guitar is an adult. I don't know. I'm saying unless if the
Wow.
next guest we get is
Guitar is my
15-year-old.
age, so no, he's like 23.
Yeah, no. If the next guest we get is a 15-year-old, they could just be like.
why are we
15 and
asking a
15.
15-year-old who they'd fuck? No, Google, stop. All right, we're moving on. That's
50,
getting cut. We're just ending this.
Yeah,
ending.
that's- yeah.
Ending. That's getting cut. No,
It's not getting cut. It's not getting cut.
no, it's
Okay.
getting cut.
It's not getting cut. Okay.
Entertaining part of the episode.
Yeah, it literally is. So we're not gonna cut it. Okay.
Twitter,
But
Twitter. In case this gets cut and you wonder what they censored, just it's a question, not an action.
It's a question. It's a question with no implied actual context.
Oh my god.
Okay. Should we just end it here?
Yes, please. Just please.
Yes, that was horrible.
Okay.